Hi, my name is Arjun Pratap. I'm the founder of EdGE Networks, a company that builds AI products that simplifies talent decisions. And to expand upon that, it is about taking care of talent transformation, acquisition of talent, optimization of your internal workforce, and also look at the planning side. Today, we're at the descriptive and sort of the predictive stage. We would like to get to the prescriptive stage where we're trying to build decision engines, and that's why the talent decision area is very important for us. So, obviously, we're focused on this area, which is the talent decision market, and it's a new category, right? And we hope to create that category because talent management itself is a $2.7 trillion opportunity defined by McKinsey in 2025. So it's significant, but has multiple components that affect or impact the entire spectrum. And we hope to play in that spectrum by creating the change agenda or sustaining the change agenda that's transforming businesses to become technology driven. So you have automotive companies who want to be technology driven. You have pharmaceutical companies who are going to be technology driven. You have people, supply chain companies that are going to be technology driven, right? So the gamut of what AI is bringing in form of disruption is really where we see an opportunity to be a part of the change agenda for the future. The talent acquisition process today, currently to build context, is about looking at a myriad of resumes, obviously first understanding the job description and seeing that it makes sense to you, then understanding a lot of resumes that exist out there, either getting them through portals, coming inbound, or through referral, right? And then once you look at the resume and the demand, the job description, you sort of find the ideal fit through a shortlist method, and then you send them off to be interviewed by by hiring managers or an interview panel, and you sort of look at how you can do an assessment if needed, background verification, and onboard the person. Now, all of that has time that really is the, I think, baseline of disruption, and time to hire significantly is a problem that one needs to solve. Now, going beyond that and solving the problem for time, the second problem is solving the problem for quality. And really, the fundamental is companies like us should focus on delivering a value proposition that solves for quality, given that time is at rest, right? So, if AI can come in and start mimicking what would be done normally by human beings in a consistent and repeatable and obviously in a fast fashion, then we could drive a significant change by reducing time and upping the quotient of quality. So blockchain is sort of is impactful because of the technology itself that is going to be like the next internet, right? But again, harnessing the technology and finding use cases for it that sum up the final value of what's going to come out is very important. And sort of banks are battling with the fintech disruption that's coming through blockchain, but I think that disruption is going to change the way, because transparency and security is really very important for the user experience, and that fundamentally is what blockchain solves, right? Through its multiple contracts and its, I think the security aspect is immense. Could it be used in human resources? Obviously, because security and transparency are huge issues, either from a candidate side or an employer side, being, I think, less looked at than it needs to be. And if that's brought in, then the confidence for employers and potential employees or employees of companies starts becoming higher, because then they can really have a voice for an employer to how employees' performance goes, or voice from an employee on how the manager is dealing, how the business is functioning, and how candidates experience their entry points into employment with specific companies. I think the evolution for blockchain is significant, but how to harness its power is really the challenge. Big data is again it's just as it says it, right? It's a lot of data, and it's about clunks of data or chunks of data that sit out there that you have to analyze to give you the power of inference by volumes of data sets, right? And big data is about analyzing information that existed historically in your systems and looking at what impact you can drive from the analysis. To just give you an analogy there, if you looked at patterns of people in positions or jobs, whether they performed well in that position or in another position is dependent on historical information residing on performance. Can you analyze all of that and start placing people better so your level of output or productivity improves? And that's only through the data that sits there. And big data is about data that technically sits across multiple systems waiting to be analyzed and harnessed. So you get the whole view of data lakes today, where you see categorized information coming up, because you need a certain amount of data integrity also to be resolved for you to get good analysis. So the quality of data will also play a huge part there. So big data is a big word for information that resides across the board, that is waiting to be analyzed so that you can get more productive and more real in the human resources world. So social sourcing, and I've known it as social search. See, search itself is a huge friction. Peter Diamond, Nobel Prize winner 2011, talked of search friction for housing and jobs being the highest in the world. And search, and you talked of social sourcing, which is nothing but search, has, I think the word social refers to ecosystems like Facebook, LinkedIn, Behance, Google Plus, GitHub. Social, if you just look at LinkedIn, GitHub itself, it's not social, it's more professional, but it's on the internet. So sourcing on the internet through microsites is going to become very important for us to build a profile of an individual who leaves an internet stamp that is related to a job. Right? You'll have to start looking at employment being the end goal, employability being the outcome, and if you can start driving that sense of you are fit for this job through information that is accessible. And obviously, when I say accessible, the access is granted, allowed, it's freely accessible, it's not something that you're intruding on. It's going to be very valuable, because more and more people are not going to put everything that they need to. More and more, I think it's very apparent that everybody doesn't put everything in their resume. Otherwise, the resume would speak of everything. You don't even have to interview the person. But there is a difference between reading a resume, interviewing a person, assessing a person, and verifying through background checks whether all of it fits together, right? So I think the whole part of where you can start building that stamp, so you can do less. Maybe there are video interviews of people that are saved on the internet. Maybe there are talks of people who in forums that can be captured and analyzed, and you can start looking at behavioral traits as well as skills. And honestly, we as a company focus on skills and experience, and we don't even touch the values and traits side. And that's where social sourcing is very, very intrinsic to getting a good idea of people and what they profess to do versus what they're actually doing. And that becomes a lot more real when social search becomes powerful and it's able to access and able to collate, able to analyze versus just bringing back the information, collating it. But the analysis, one is the collation is tough, the analysis is the next piece, then building a profile from that and building inference, very powerful.